Hello and welcome to another episode of the To Baldly Go podcast, and thank you for joining me on my mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to baldly go where so many have gone before. My name is Aaron, and I'm watching Star Trek for the first time from the beginning. Joining me this week is my old friend and our resident Trekkie, Nate. Join us now as we discuss the next 3 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation: Captain's Holiday, Tin Man, and Hollow Pursuits. Make it so. Should we talk about some Star Trek?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. In our first episode this week, while on vacation, Picard becomes entangled in the search for a missing weapon from the future in Captain's Holiday.
Are we
What'd
at
you think
all
of this one?
are we at all shocked that Picard doesn't like to take vacations?
No, one of the last things I wrote down in just my thoughts on this episode is the perfect setting for Picard.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have worked for Riker or anyone
Nope.
else.
Nope.
Um, yeah, uh, it was interesting in that it was a Picard-centric episode, but almost entirely excluded the rest of the cast.
Yeah. Little at the beginning, little bit
Other
in the end.
than, yep, a little
That's
at the
it.
beginning, a little at the end. Yeah, I didn't really have a ton of thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is my favorite episode ever by any stretch of the imagination. It is it is kind of a nice diversion from a typical episode, right? You get a different kind of setting, you get some different characters. It's kind of in the way, in a way, like a whodunit kind of mystery thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an Indiana Jones type vibe to it. Of
Mm-hmm.
like, gotta go play archaeologist and find this, instead of ancient artifact, futuristic artifact.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think, I don't know, time travel storylines are, I think, hard to do well because
Mm-hmm.
to me it's like, and I know obviously kind of skipping to the end, but why wouldn't they just try it over and over and over again until they got it? Or now they know where it
Or did
is,
they?
and they might have, but it's not. That's where, like, if they had left it open like that, I think that could have been interesting. But I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it was even left open like that. It's like, ah, shit, he blew it up. History recorded that he did. Ah, well,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can't have it. We'll go back to our century and shucks.
But he
Um,
did he did talk about how it's possible that they would go back again,
yep. They
and
just
now
didn't
that
think it
they know
seemed
where
like
to
they were
find it.
going to. Like,
But then if they had done that, Picard wouldn't have been saying that because he would not have known about it
that's
because it
fair.
would have been already destroyed. So
Um,
yeah, it's kind of
Paradox.
that interesting paradox, or you get into those time loops or whatever it would be, just stuff that is honestly just very difficult to grasp.
Yes. So at the end of the day, I mean, I gave it a 7. I think it was interesting enough, an interesting enough plot line. I didn't have like major issues with most of it. It kept my attention. It was, like I said, it was a fun diversion from the usual. But is it an amazing episode? Eh, not really.
I'm right there with you. I gave it a 7. One of my notes at the end, I don't feel like I have many thoughts on this one.
Yep.
Overall, it was a fine episode. And I think this is again, we've discussed this a few times in this season, is this is just another example of the overall quality that we see in the show,
Yep.
just on average. Not that every episode is great, but just overall, even they're just otherwise kind of okay, just fine episodes are still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what
there was really good dialogue. I liked when uh Picard was talking to Riker at the beginning, and he's just like, is everyone on the ship like trying to push this? And Riker says, I believe there are two ensigns stationed on deck 39 who know nothing about it. Like,
Yeah.
just really good interactions. It's like the writers and the actors, they all know their characters
Yes.
inside and out right now. Yet they're still able to discover new things about them and make them interesting. They're not just flat
Hmm.
and also not like you see I think in sitcoms. And I think of like you think say Robin in How I Met Your Mother
Yeah.
or Monica in Friends. By the end of this series, it's like they're a caricature of the character they were early on.
Yep.
And in part, it's because they need to do something to keep them fresh and interesting and not just static and boring.
Right.
And they're definitely not at that point here because they are able to still bring up new things. We're learning more about Worf in the other episodes last week and things like that. So, but they're able to keep the characters fresh and give us new things, but at the same time, it's like they are just embodying these characters, which makes it shows in the quality of the show where,
Right.
like we both said, even though this is not a particularly special episode, it's still good.
So I have an interesting thought, and it relates nothing to Star Trek at all, by the
Uh-huh.
way. But it's making me think. Do you feel like maybe that's a limitation of the sitcom style, where you kind of you
It,
always have to be funny, versus something like Star Trek that's a drama can be both serious and funny. Like it has the
yeah,
liberty to skew comedic and still kind of maintain its dramatic tone. Whereas I don't feel like sitcoms can't have the same liberty to skew dramatic as much and still
yeah.
keep the
Now, I would give a counterpoint that a lot of times some of the best, most impactful episodes of a sitcom are ones that get pretty real or pretty
How I
serious.
Met Your Mother when his dad dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
That when I was thinking that exact episode, and
Yep.
that was one that we had watched the series at least one or two times, and we were watching it again, and I forgot that that was the episode. And now, anytime we watch it, it's like I know right away what that episode is, and I know some of the tricks they did in it because there's a countdown going through that entire episode visually.
Right.
Um,
But they
but then,
can't do that
but at
in
the same
regularity.
time, no, they can't. It's got to be uh possibly even a once a series kind of thing. So yeah, I think it is harder the longer you get into a sitcom. And it always seems to be in sitcoms that get to be 9, 10 seasons deep, where to keep it interesting because they, even if they're putting a funny spin on a serious thing, they're situational comedies. They're not dramatic by nature. And I think that you make a good point that, yeah, a show like this that is a little more dramatic first, but can have those comedic elements. And again, I think it just points to the writers, the actors, they're all so, at this point, they're so dialed into the roles and the show and what the show is that they're just firing consistently. It's consistently solid, which is really awesome as a viewer.
Yep.
Um, but at the same time, if every episode was Picard being put in uncomfortable positions, situations, things like that, that would get old really fast, I think. Or Picard being like, whatever,
Yeah.
that turns it into a sitcom. And that's
Yep.
not what it is. And so they use it sparingly, and it works really well because it's like you see Picard as kind of a grouch sometimes or kind of uptight. And
Hmm.
so seeing him in like
Early
super short shorts and just vacationing.
Yeah.
It's
But
funny to
he's
see
even a
him.
grump when he's on vacation. Like it continues to be the get off my lawn guy
Yep.
sitting on a beach chair on a
Yeah.
paradise planet. Like,
Yep. But yeah, the episode I just felt like it just worked well. The story was kind of like whatever. It was entertaining enough. Yeah, kind of a whodunit. What's going on? What are they searching for? What are the Ferengi doing here? What is this lady Vasha? How is she involved and all of that?
yep,
Um, we had uh we had another moment where I feel I never know if they're using scientific terminology or if they're just using sciencey sounding words.
yeah. And I
Because
think
when
that's
they say
exactly
that the Toxutot is a quantum phase inhibitor capable of halting nuclear reactions in a star, it's just like, I don't know if that's a legitimate thing or if that's just science words
yeah,
that,
technobabble.
I mean, it doesn't matter because in the end it works,
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
it's
cool.
even if it is just sciencey words, who cares? It's a science fiction
Yeah,
show, and they're flying
hell of a weapon,
spaceships, and
right?
yeah. Um, but yeah, I did find it interesting that Picard seemed very trusting from the start of their claims that they were from the 27th century.
Agreed.
He was kind of like, yeah, that checks out. It's like,
And
really?
like, obviously, I knew where the episode was going,
Yeah,
from the beginning, but I had the same thought as I was listening to him. Like, so you're telling me that you could just randomly show up and say, I'm from the future, I'm here to help, and that's just
yeah,
taken at face value? I'm
yeah.
still not. I don't know that they necessarily even definitively prove they're from the future at any point in this
I
show.
don't
I
think they
mean,
did. And
may,
and
make
also
the argument that that was fake, right?
and
And they
also that
invented that
he
all.
that he was very he seemed very like he addressed it a little bit later in it, but his initial reaction was like all of their story just checked out.
Yeah,
He was like, "Oh yeah, and not only that, but you're also kind of the good guys here."
right.
So,
And that's the other thing is, even if they were from the
like,
future, you can't guarantee that they were
trust
good
trust
guys.
but verify, man.
Yes.
Surprised he didn't surrender the ship.
They were too far away for him to do that. Let's be
That's
real.
true.
Out of communication range, so no
Yeah.
option.
No, yeah, it's weird though that yeah, I don't have much really. I didn't have many thoughts on this episode other than yeah, that was a fun episode. It was
Yeah.
good.
I took a bunch of notes. Most of it were like quotes and things like that. I did think, I mean, early in the episode, him just being a grumpy bastard and like them talking to him, and he doesn't even respond. He just goes, huh. Like, I like that. And that he's just not having any of it. Like, all the tricks Riker is playing, Crusher's playing, and it finally takes Troy going, "Hey, my mom's gonna meet us at Starbase 12," and he's like, "Fucking out! Like, get me off this
Right.
ship right now!" Like, all right, like we found the
Yeah,
thing, but also at that point, they've been doing all these things to get him off the ship and go on vacation. Why is that the thing that he believed after all that?
I know.
Uh, I get it. Like, it's very funny. I thought that was
Yeah.
very funny.
Well, and just
Um,
some of the reactions, and I like Riker's reactions to him and his just big goofy grin, like, "Oh man, we're getting him here." He's like, "So have you decided where you're going yet?" And he says, "Yes, I have, number one, bridge." "No, I meant on your shore leave." "Not
yeah.
you too." He's just so defeated.
Oh my God, it's so great. And then I do love that initial encounter with Vash. I think you've mistaken me for someone else. I think you may be right. Welcome to Risa, and runs off. A simple handshake would have sufficed.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it was good. The Horgon, I think, is a very funny kind of MacGuffin type thing.
Yep.
Uh, just to inject a little humor.
Yep. And again, as a one-off episode, it worked really well. If they did it
Yeah,
again before, say, a season and a half or more from now, it'd be like, okay, let's move on from this. But
right.
yeah, as a one-off thing, it was awesome.
And then they're in that cave getting ready to, go to bed that first night, and you're enjoying yourself, aren't you? Yes. Like of course he is. This is what he lives for. The rest of he doesn't want to do any of that stuff. He found an adventure and even
Yep,
better an
an
archaeological adventure
archaeological one.
game. Like, let's go. He is in his happy spot.
Yeah.
And then the final line of was it a relaxing trip, Captain? Uh-huh. Just no comment. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now, Vosh, uh, I thought, I don't know if it was just the performance she gave, because she gave a performance that didn't strike me as simple guest star. It
Hmm.
it felt like they were trying to set her up to become a recurring character. Now, I don't know if she ever comes back or not, but it kind of had that feel where it was almost like, all right, we're going to send Picard out here. We know he's great,
Yeah.
but let's see if we can bring somebody else in that we can just kind of bounce off of him sometimes. And so I have no clue if she comes back or not, but it kind of had that feel. Or I
Yeah.
don't know if this is getting a bit more meta on it. If the actress was just like, I want to be part of this show, I'm gonna just I'm gonna go above and beyond because she was probably one of the better guest stars we've seen.
I agree. I mean, I think
And
she
the performance was awesome. It was like her character was well developed and already known. She
I
just
I think
nailed
the
the
chemistry
character.
between the two of them was awesome.
Hmm.
Um, they're two very similar people in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah,
solitary, interested in the same things, don't want to get wrapped up in anything other than Picard wrapped up in his career. But you could argue she's also wrapped up in her career. It's just a very different career.
hmm
But I think the interplay between the two of them was just so on point, and whether that was intentional or whether that was just it happened to work out that
just
way, I have no
happenstance. Yeah,
idea. But it was like those two characters just fell into place so well, and you don't see that
right.
very often with guest roles like that.
Yeah,
I think it's I mean to compare it to another show that you've watched too, I think it's a lot like the interplay between Raylan and Boyd Crowder on Justified.
never
Um,
seen that.
you've never seen Justified?
Not a single episode.
Oh my God, I thought you had seen it.
No, I
How?
think we've talked about it. I've just never gotten around to
Oh
watching it.
no. Oh my God, go watch that show. I think it's on Prime. I don't know where it is.
Okay.
You have to watch that show. It's one of the best shows ever made.
Okay.
It's so
I've
good.
heard only good things. Let's see. I'm
I
guessing it's on
honestly,
Hulu. Yeah, it's on
maybe it's
Hulu
I
because it
don't
was
know.
an FX show. It's
Oh
Timothy
my,
Oliphant, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry. They did a reboot of it
Hmm.
a year or two ago. Don't worry about that. Wasn't as good. I didn't even
Okay.
finish. But the
Oof.
actual, like the original run show, which I think was seven-ish seasons,
Hmm.
some of the best writing and some of the best acting of any TV show I've ever seen.
Okay.
You'll be hooked from the first episode. It's so good. I'm so disappointed that you've never seen this show. I will finish the story because it's not really a spoiler for the show that the so you know who Walter Goggins is, the
Yeah.
actor. So he
Yeah.
plays one of the main antagonists in the show. The show is based on a book, in particular, like the first episode. In the book, Walter Goggins' character dies,
Hmm.
and but the chemistry between those two actors and those two characters was so good that they couldn't kill him off.
Hmm.
So they converted that character into main cast.
Hmm.
Um, Same thing with Jesse and Walt on Breaking Bad. Jesse is supposed to die
Yep.
at
Jesse was supposed to die in season
but they were
one.
so good together they kept going. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if like that's a similar situation where they didn't expect there to be chemistry and there just was.
Well, and I love these kind of background stories on shows. Like Chris Pratt on Parks and Rec, he was a guest star for season one,
Yep.
and he put in so much prep work in some of the for some of the stuff that he did in the sixth episode of Parks and Rec,
Mhm.
going on my deep dive Parks and Rec stuff as I frequently seem to
The
do.
other podcast, right?
Right. He so I had heard a story, it was on a podcast or in a book I read, that he told a story of how in the sixth episode, it's called Rock Show, and he's rattling off all of these band names for his band Mouse Rat that they had gone through dozens of names.
Mhm.
And it's done really like off the cuff, like he's just spitballing, just saying all these weird ass names.
Yep.
Uh, and apparently he had spent weeks working on that, not being told to work on it, but just like building that character out and building that stuff out. So he made it look super easy, but he had spent weeks creating that and preparing it for that scene where he's able to do that and rattle off probably 30 band names in a minute.
Yep.
And he got brought back and was brought back as a regular cast member
Is
moving
a
forward. And he was, yeah, he had been in a handful of movies, and I guess he was in a couple shows before that. But like he was like he didn't know if he was going to be brought back, and he was like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to bust my ass to try to be involved in this. And
Yep.
so I love knowing that background stuff on shows and episodes where you get that guest star that's like, I've got a shot and I'm gonna see if I can make it work. And even if it doesn't, you get a pretty damn good performance
Yeah.
sometimes and in an episode that just really worked.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any good trivia on this episode?
There's a few. There's one last thing that I wanted to bring up because I saw the note and it just made me think of it. So they show up at the site to start
Hmm.
digging. Th those are some tiny ass shovels. Like they're like that long.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could think of, because they clearly dug for hours and hours and hours, was ow my back and my hands would be so blistered on those things. It had like little metal ridges in them, no gloves. Like I'm thinking OSHA safety at this point, or like anytime I go out to do yard work, it's like I can't shovel for very long without gloves, otherwise I just tear my hands up, right? Like, and here they are just like, no big deal. Like,
Yeah.
damn. So I don't know. I just that's the thing I noticed and thought was very funny. So,
Yeah.
um, all right, trivia. Um, so this is kind of a fun one. Might be worth going back and rewatching at least the beginning just because of this. So Michael Dorn, who as we know is the actor who plays Worf,
Hmm.
can be seen not once but twice without makeup on Risa as a tourist. In fact, he's the first character to appear in the episode as it starts on Risa. He walks across the screen left to right with a woman in red. Then, as the picture zooms back, he can be seen walking toward the back of the space on the right. He's wearing a purple tank top and orange swim bottoms. He can be
That's
seen
funny.
again in the scene where Vash slips the disc into Picard's tunic. He's sitting in a wicker chair behind Vash, Picard, and the Ferengi on the right in the same outfit.
That's funny.
Like we need an extra. Hey man, you didn't put your makeup on yet. Nobody's gonna know who you are.
Yeah. That's great.
The scene where Dr. Crusher tells Captain Picard about a member of the crew that is showing signs of stress and exhaustion parallels a similar scene in Shore Leave.
Hmm.
Spock attempts the same strategy with Captain Kirk, which tricks Kirk into saying that said crewman is under orders to accept shore leave. To which Spock then reveals that the crewman in question is actually the captain. However, in the scene where Beverly attempts this, Captain Picard sees through the ruse quite easily. I think that's very funny. Um,
Yeah.
the view of Risa when the Enterprise comes into orbit is actually Australia, specifically focused on the state of South Australia.
Okay.
This is the only time Transporter Code 14 is used or mentioned in the entire franchise.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh, so
Like,
they have basically a destroy function in the
yeah,
transporter?
make it go
That's
boom.
pretty powerful.
Yep. This is the first TNG episode that focuses on Captain Picard in an unusual situation and ignores the rest of the cast for most of the episode.
I suppose we had his what was his name? As the 1940s detective. Um,
Uh,
he had
uh,
that episode, but Crusher was there with him, and so was
and
Data.
one of the other crew members,
Yeah.
when he's when I want to say Vince Flynn, not Vince Flynn.
No,
Uh,
not Vince Flynn.
very, very much not Vince Flynn. Why am I blanking on the character's name?
I say it starts with a D, but I don't remember.
Dixon Hill. Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed a letter. Dixon Hill. Vince Flynn, Dixon Hill. It's not that.
Not that close either.
Yeah.
Uh, so
When Riker requests Picard get him a Horgon, Troy looks past Picard at Riker with a smirking head shake. This implies she knows exactly what displaying a Horgon means, yet she says absolutely nothing, thus letting Picard get one and essentially ask all rising women for an intimate encounter.
I
I love that so much. I think it's very funny.
love when he like very uncomfortably stood up, grabbed it, and shoved it under a
Yeah,
towel too.
like, no.
Just so awkward.
Uh-huh. Pat, so you probably knew this. As I was watching the episode, I thought, didn't this happen? And now that I see the trivia, I go, oh yeah, that 100% happened. Um, Patrick Stewart had an affair with Jennifer Hetrick, who plays Vash, while filming this episode. Um, he tells of the affair in his 2023 autobiography, Making It So. I don't know if
I
you remember.
had I had recalled I didn't recall the name
Yep,
in it, but I recalled it being a season 3 episode
that would
that he
be.
talked about. And so I've been kind of curious what episode that was, and
So does that explain maybe some of the chemistry?
maybe
Just throwing that out there.
yeah.
Uh, let's see here. Wesley Crusher and Dre LaForge do not appear in this episode.
Hmm.
Data appears but does not have any dialogue.
Hmm.
The first scene takes place on Risa before Captain Picard's arrival, making this the first episode with an opening scene which does not feature the Enterprise or any of its crew.
Hmm.
Uh,
Interesting.
The name Samuel Estragon is probably a reference to Samuel Beckett and his play Waiting for Godot, which features a character with the rare name of Estragon. Patrick Stewart played Estragon's friend Vladimir in the same play on stage.
Hmm.
This one made me laugh. Jonathan Frakes' father was a professor and had a passion for reading. When he was a kid, he took his father's copy of Ulysses, and his father said he wasn't ready for it. Years later, after his dad passed, he picked up the book and read a few paragraphs before putting it away and said, "Nope, still not ready." In this episode, Picard has Ulysses as one of his light reading books, which I feel like I've read excerpts of Ulysses and it's pretty dense. I've certainly
Yeah,
never read the whole book,
I
but
have not read any of it.
the final scene was originally written uh, or sorry, a final scene was originally written, which mirrored the first scene on Risa, suggesting that the Vorgons did indeed make another and possibly successful attempt to obtain the Toxutot. In the end, though, the scene was not realized as it was deemed a little confusing and didn't quite work, according to
Hmm.
Michael Piller.
Hmm.
And then the last one that I maybe you'll get, I got it. I thought it was funny. The two aliens attempting to steal the Utah are referred to as Vorgons. In the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, Vogons, without the R, are a particularly repulsive alien race that destroy the Earth. I don't know if you've ever read those books at all, but
I've read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and The Restaurant at the End of the World or at the End of the Universe.
okay.
I haven't read the other ones yet, but
So long and thanks for all the fish. And then,
I have the like ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide that has
yep.
the five books in it, not any of the subsequent ones after Douglas Adams died. Because I know there are a couple that were taken over by somebody else. Um, but yeah, I've read the first two. I enjoy them.
I,
They're good. They're silly,
yeah, they're super silly. And
but at the same time, there's depth there too.
mhm. He was a talented dude, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's it for trivia.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next episode in which the Enterprise reaches out to an alien being while dancing around with the Romulans, who want to attack it in an act of vengeance in Tin Man.
If I only had a brain.
It's the Scarecrow. Tin Man didn't have a heart.
I know. It's just the first thing that came to mind. Sorry.
Well, the first thing I thought of was like I think I've mentioned it before, but when I was reading the book The Wizard of Oz to the girls one day, and I read the story of the Tin Woodsman,
Hmm.
and it's one of the most fucked up things I've read in a children's book.
The actual
Um,
book is
it's
not like
the
the movie.
the specific story of the Tin Woodsman is insane, especially to have in a children's book. Like,
Yeah, but how many of those old children's stories,
oh yeah,
like I mean the Grimm brothers type
yeah.
stuff, are actually pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah.
So
All those grim fairy tales. I've
yeah,
never really read any of them, but I my understanding is they are all super dark.
yeah. They are not Disney by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm
No.
not, I'm not obviously The Wizard of Oz is not a fairy tale story. It's an allegory of political things, but it doesn't
Which
mean
is
it's
funny because if you read the introduction to The Wizard of Oz, he was like, I'm not trying to say anything here. I just want to tell a fairy tale for kids
yep.
and just a fairy tale adventure, which you may look at and say, bullshit, that's what you were trying to do.
Right.
But yeah, his claim is that there's nothing deeper in it. It is just a fun adventure for kids. But yeah, you read the story of the Tin Woodsman and whew, that's messed up.
Been a long time,
So,
but
yeah.
yes,
So this episode had nothing to do with that.
not at all.
Not even a little bit. Um, I wanted to like this one more than I did. Um,
Okay.
I didn't think it was bad, but it could have just in many points just been a bit better.
Okay.
So I gave this one a six. I could maybe be talked up to a seven, saying it's barely fine. But yeah, I thought it was generally just okay. Um, yeah, there were interesting points. It could have been really good, and it just fell a little bit flat overall. Like they had a bunch of things that almost worked,
Yeah.
and none of them really did.
It's
But again, speaking to the overall quality of the series of the show, it's still not a terrible episode. It was just kind of like, eh,
I'm not far off from you. I think it is a perfectly serviceable episode that has its moments where it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty typical Star Trek formula, really intertwined A and B plot of Tin Man plus the Romulans plus Tam, that kind of thing. I gave it a 7. I debated 8, but I don't didn't put it down because I just didn't. When it was done, I didn't feel that excited about it. There were parts in it I was like, this
Yeah.
could be a solid 8, and then other things would happen. I would just go,
It
okay.
now I may have just gotten a bit distracted watching this one and missed something. But again, if that happened that easily, how great is the
But
episode? It
I don't
just
think you're far off by saying 6. I really
like
don't. Like I think that's
I
a
I
very
just
justified
I
rating.
really wanted to like it more, but I felt the threats didn't seem very imminent. Like for an episode that they were like on the verge of battle with the Romulans, it was pretty there was shockingly little tension to it. It was just kind of like, eh.
You know what would have ultimately I can name one thing that could have potentially made this a better episode
Hmm.
just by its addition if Tomalak had been on one of those Romulan ships.
Yeah,
Taunting Picard and like if you
right.
added that little element in it, like he's already been in 2 episodes. We know who he is.
Yeah,
Just and I had made a note of like why isn't he here? Like where
right.
where where is Tomalak? Because it's
That would have boosted it up at least a point, I
yeah,
think, because it just felt like okay, we need somebody to also be trying to get to this thing. Ah, let's just do the Romulans, but it wasn't like any other interaction they've had with the Romulans. Really, it was just kind of like it's just there. They
yeah.
say you're in our space, you need to get out, and Picard's just like it's not your space, so no. And that's that's about it.
I
I
also
mean,
didn't love they were trying to set up
ooh, you're talking yourself down.
I might be. We'll see. They set Tam up as a kind of a gray character from the start, right? The
Hmm.
Garushtan disaster and all that stuff. And then you start to kind of peel back the onion from the little bits of details that they kind of sprinkle throughout the episode about it, and you find out that he didn't really do anything wrong. Like
Yeah.
he didn't cause the disaster. Riker's main complaint is that he somehow didn't prevent it. But then he comes right back in one of the scenes in the briefing room of like, no, I warned him. I tried to get him to stop. He wouldn't listen. And it's all a monologue because he's reading
Hmm.
Riker's thoughts for him, right? And Riker doesn't believe this, but it's like, are you really condemning someone for what he theoretically didn't do versus what he did do? Because
Yeah.
that feels like a more tenuous grasp on it. It makes it sound
Right.
like it's a much bigger thing than it actually was. And I don't know if it creates that morally gray character for me in the way they intended it to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just
If you had said, "Oh, he withheld some piece of information that he was, and let somebody go do something," but they didn't even say that. It's like, well, he didn't do anything to stop it. Were you there? How do you
assuming
know?
that he would have been able to do something to
Yeah, and
stop it,
it
or that
sounds like
other
it was
people would
like
have listened.
him and this other guy and the Garushtins, and nobody else was around. So how do you know? How do you
Yeah.
know he didn't do something?
Yeah. And how is he going to be able to force
Yeah,
somebody to act? So, yeah, I don't know. I just think, yeah, it like nothing was super weak in the episode, but nothing was just really that strong. It was just, all right, let's throw Romulans in there and a Betazoid. And I thought it was interesting how they built out some of the lore around Betazoids and their
yeah,
telepathic abilities. I love when they do that. Just a little
yeah.
bit of exposition in the episode, building out so much more of the universe. Um, and again, some really good moments with Tam analyzing data, data analyzing himself or realizing things about himself, and the whole is data a person, kind of that ongoing discussion. But it wasn't, while there were moments that stuck out, it still wasn't enough, I think, to really carry the episode any higher. It
No.
was, yeah, it was just missed the mark a little bit.
I mean, I think I talked myself into a six. Um, which is fine. And then whatever. I do. I mean, there were a few other things that I thought were um kind of weird. The like, especially given the fact that they were saying that the warbirds were pushing themselves so hard and drawing all this energy from other places to the point of destruction to beat them there.
Hmm.
But as they fly by the Enterprise, it's like three hits with a disruptor and it drops the Enterprise's shield 70%. And it's like it's all the other encounters one-on-one with the Enterprise in one of those warbirds have been fairly equally matched. And they make a point to say that, like, one to one, they're pretty equivalent ships. It's those situations where it's like 3-on-1
Hmm.
that you have a problem. But here it comes, boom, boom, boom. Oh, we lost 70% of our shield capacity. Well, shit. Um, that sucks.
Yeah.
And it's just none of that stuff didn't like it felt like a really weird plot device and not
Yeah.
even that it mattered, you know?
Yeah. And that was it, where it was just like none of the threats felt imminent. Uh, There's the Romulans, there was the star going Nova, and just very little tension. And again, maybe I missed something, maybe I was
But I
distracted,
don't
but
think it did
I
because
didn't feel like there if there had been more tension, it would have captured my attention better,
yeah,
I think. And so, yeah, it was just a bit flat, but still the episode could have been great.
yep,
It had all the elements to be a great episode, and you know what? You're gonna have some that are not the highest. They're not every episode can be the best episode ever.
no.
So this is one that's just like it's okay, not bad. I mean, if I'm a Star Trek fan watching this and it's this week's episode, I'm not gonna be pissed off that this was the episode I got. I'll just be like,
Mhm.
all right, moving on.
Yep.
So
And look, again, I know we say this every time we've got an episode that's a little lower. You kind of have to have the crappy ones to really appreciate the good ones.
right.
Just
Uh,
do.
Yeah, and also this is episode 20 in season 3. They're just pumping these things out. So, I mean, the fact that you get a couple misses and even the misses are still like, all right, it's okay. I mean, it's not
Hey,
Code of
yeah.
Honor, it's not Cat's Paw, it's not the
Yeah.
alternative factor, it's not those bullshit episodes that we've seen. It's
Not
just
the
like
shock.
even the ones where they miss or fall flat, they're still like it's fine, it's okay, I guess.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that I think speaks again to just the quality of the show that we're watching at this
100%.
point, and that it's still just on the whole feels like it is just really hitting its stride, maybe even improving, even if we had what I consider the best episode we've seen
Yep.
5 episodes prior to this one. And so it's not like they can really go up very far from there, but just on the whole, the show is still just on such an upward trajectory that yeah, it's like that maybe even carries some of the weaker episodes because they're just surrounded by such good,
Hmm.
high quality episodes.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
yeah.
know. I had a whole lot else to say about this. Other than it's funny we talked about Chris Pratt rattling off potential band names. Towards the end, when they called it Star Creature, I literally wrote down Star Creature is my new rock band name. Like, what a great name. Um,
So, one note I made
yeah,
partway through is I don't know if it's that I had pulled this episode up. I had it on my laptop. So I had my laptop open next to me and I had my headphones on. So just completely immersed in the sound of the episode. The music to me stood out in this episode. Um, I don't know if it was different than other episodes or just that I was watching it on my laptop with my headphones on, and that it stuck out to me. I don't. I made that note. I recall thinking that.
Their
I don't
music
recall
in
specifically what it was, but in this episode over others, the music, it stuck out enough to me that I wrote it down.
yeah, their music's awesome.
Yeah.
So I believe you. Like the soundtracks that they put on these episodes are generally pretty fantastic.
Yeah. And not all of them give me that thought of like, oh man, I need to make note of this. But this one, for whatever reason, did just throughout. And I believe I wrote that down as kind of a positive thing because it stood out and it wasn't like, oh man, that's a lot of synthesizer,
Yeah.
which I think I've said in prior episodes. But yeah, it was, yeah, just it stuck out to me. But that
Yeah.
was really kind of about all that I had.
Yeah.
Any
I don't
good
have anything
trivia
else.
on this one?
There's a little bit of trivia. Some of it's kind of interesting. So the sound effects for the alien ship, are you ready
Hmm.
for this?
Hmm.
Were produced by having a stage crew member eat half a large pizza and then sit quietly with dermal microphones taped to his stomach to record the sounds of his digestive process.
Okay.
I mean, you do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah.
The growing chair was created by reversing a time-lapse film of a wax chair melting, which I think is
Hmm.
kind of cool. You kind of hit on this, but in a different way. So this episode is based on David Bischoff's science fiction novella, Tin Woodsman.
Hmm.
This is published as a magazine feature in 1976 and revised and expanded in 1978 with some new material written by David Russell Bailey. The latter version was nominated for a Nebula Award in 1979. With a few changes to synchronize the story's internal logic with the established Trek universe, it was easily adapted for TNG.
Hmm.
So I wonder if this is interesting. I wonder it says David Russell Bailey. The writer of this episode, according to my notes, was David Putman Bailey, and I wonder if that's either a typo on one side or the other, or if those really are different people. Hang on, I'm checking real quick. Because he's just quoted as Dennis Bailey. Am I just dumb? Is it late? And I said David, and it's also possible. Hang on. That's what happens when I.
Dennis Bailey and
Yeah,
David
never mind it.
Bischoff.
David versus Dennis. I just can't read. So forget I said anything. The last names just happen to be the same. This episode was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Achievement in Special Visual Effects.
Hmm.
The covered painting in Data's quarters that Tim Elbrun peeks at is of the energy vortex from Time Squared. I think it's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, I had a different comment for this, but I'm glad I wasn't too far off. The design of Gumto was based in part on a peach pen. And my first comment when I saw it was, damn, that looks like an almond. And then I really wanted almonds for whatever reason. The special effect used on Gum to defend itself is the same visual effect as when V'ger explodes at the end of Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Hmm.
Um, Tin Man was a derogatory nickname for Data in Skin of Evil given by Armus, and Dr. Ira Graves also applied it to Data in The Schizoid Man in a somewhat more positive context.
Hmm.
I had forgotten about both of those things. Let's see. This isn't the first time we see the Daredevil Romulan warbirds, but it is the first to refer to this class by name. And then I don't know if we've talked about this before. I can't remember. Um, in lots of Star Trek episodes, they reuse the number 47. It just shows up everywhere for whatever reason. And in this case, it's the number of casualties from the Garushtan battle.
Hmm.
So that's the trivia. That's what I got for that one.
All right. Sorry, I got started going down a tiny rabbit hole there of was it sorry, Dennis shit.
Dennis Putnam Bailey,
No,
the other guy.
Dennis Bailey was a writer for Starship Farragut, a fan-made web series that apparently hasn't been taken down yet. You can find it on YouTube. A
Huh.
fan-made show based on the original Star Trek series following the adventures of Federation starship Farragut, its crew and Captain John Thomas Jack Carter, set in the same era as the original series.
And Paramount didn't sue him out of
Apparently not. It appears to be on YouTube. A let's see, episode guide, 11 episodes.
I bet it's awful. But
They're okay. Almost all of the episodes, because there are so few, are showing as top rated. Um, but yeah, their top rated episode is 7.4 on IMDb. So
see,
not great.
series.
Overall rated a 5.9, but hmm, have to
Hmm.
file that one away to check out later.
Yeah. Something to play in the background.
Yep. All right. So, shall we move on
Yes, we
to?
shall.
All right. A shy member of the Enterprise crew becomes addicted to the holodeck, where relationships are easier than in real life when his knowledge is needed in engineering, in Hollow Pursuits. So, my first note of this was, what the fuck is happening? And immediately after I got to the point where I wrote that down, I wrote, oh, holodeck.
So it's funny, my line two, because line one doesn't really matter. So we'll call it the first real line that I wrote was, wonder how long it takes Aaron to figure out this is fake. Literally what I wrote down.
Yeah, it was when they revealed it, and I was just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, one, who is this asshole?
It's so great though.
And what the fuck is happening?
It's probably the best scene in the entire episode, which means it really is all downhill from there.
All right, so I think we might have a little bit different rating on this one
All right,
then.
that's fair.
I I thought it was a fine episode.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It
It
was
was a
weird.
strange episode. Um and tough to get a read on it, really. I felt for Barclay during the episode.
Hmm.
Like, who hasn't experienced moments of imposter
Oh,
syndrome
sure.
or like this general lack of confidence? Especially when your input or any contributions you make are getting shot down, whether right or wrong.
Yep.
It just, and who hasn't felt that, like, in my mind, I've got all the confidence in the world and I'll tell that guy to go fuck himself. But then you get there and you're just like, yeah, well, I just don't, hmm.
Yeah. You just
And so
lose
it,
everything.
I felt Barkley was shockingly relatable. Sadly, he was also kind of wildly unlikable for so much of the episode too. It's just like,
I
all
think he's
right,
that
get
extreme, like
over
mostly
yourself.
relatable, but like extremely awkward and terrible at the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
Like just taking it to that purest logical extreme.
Yeah. So I had to pause it for some reason halfway through the episode, and it was almost halfway through, and I was just like, I don't know what the message is that they're going to be pushing in this episode.
Yep.
I was like, is it the impacts of how we treat people? Because Riker was a dick to him,
Uh-huh.
and Geordi was also kind of a dick to him, but then Picard was just like, nope, you're his best friend now. That's
Yeah.
an order.
Figure it out.
So it's like,
Which
are
you gotta
we,
commend Picard for that, right?
yeah. And are we looking at kind of the impact of how we treat other people and Geordi treating him so differently was able to draw some of that out and what needed to happen at the end of the episode. Or are we talking about the isolation and the loneliness of life on a starship? I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not in that main circle, that main crew group, how are you experiencing this, especially if you're awkward with people and
Yeah.
you can't get it right. I mean, that I could only imagine would be so isolating, so lonely, where yeah, you've got a computer game is your best companion. Or is the episode about leadership and Geordi and Picard leading his crew to say, like, no, treat people right? And that contrast with Riker's approach to him, where he's just like, get this guy the fuck out of here. And both, given the information at hand, were kind of right.
Yep. Both valid.
Or or is it about finding and drawing the best out of people? Because Jordy was then able to go in and you could tell Jordy was like, all right, I gotta just fake it till I make it here because this guy's got nothing for me. He's
Yep.
like, I'm just gonna tell him he does enough. Or is it about kind of finding your own confidence or just simply understanding the people that are around us?
So I think it was either about all of that, and it did a really shitty job of doing that, or it was just too much, like too many themes to try
Yeah.
and back into an episode. Um, I don't know. It's an okay episode. I gave it a six.
Okay.
I
I gave
almost
it a
gave it a
7.
five.
Okay. I can see that. There was very little action in the episode. It
Yeah.
was so character driven.
What did you give it? I cut you off, so I didn't hear.
I gave it a 7. I thought it was that was just kind of my gut feeling. I was intrigued the whole time. I felt for the Barkley character. I thought he was, yeah, you could relate to parts of him, not completely, but he had some
I,
relatability to him. Like it wasn't all terrible. He did such a good job in his holodeck scenes being just this confident, almost arrogant prick.
his flip-flop.
And then the snap switch to just like this super meek, no confidence whatsoever. His performance was really good. I thought I thought it was a very interesting character and how Geordi then was tasked with trying to draw some of that out of him, and that being contrasted with Riker, who, again, the whole episode was just like, fuck this guy.
I think I think one of my bigger problems, I made a note of this early on, is like I understand like the trying to fit in the isolation and stuff like that, but he's also pretty much derelicting his duties, like even from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And one of my challenges kind of was the fact that the Enterprise is the flagship. It's supposed to be the best crew in all of Starfleet. And we've seen some situations where I'm thinking of like Ensign Gomez, where yeah, maybe she's a little socially awkward, but they make a point to talk about like how good she is at what she does. Like she graduated top in her class and warp plasma physics or some random thing like that. And so there's a reason why she's there. And
Yeah.
with him, it's just like, yeah, I mean, he's transferred here. Like, yeah, he's a great diagnostic engineer, and I don't even know if they say great. Like, he's pretty good, and now he's on the Enterprise. I'm like, how? How does that
Well,
happen?
So I was like, I made a note about how, okay, it's interesting to see kind of the politics that go on between ships and star bases and how these guys just get shipped around. And Picard even said it's easy to transfer a problem to someone else,
Yep,
too easy.
for sure.
But yeah, and I thought it was really fascinating to see all of the different kind of perspectives toward him.
Yep.
You've got Troy is very sympathetic towards him. You got Geordi is like, oh God, I gotta go take care of this guy, but then fully embraced it and was just like, this
Great
is it,
leadership on his
and
part. To be
not
like, you know what? You were
not
right.
just doing it because he was ordered to, but because he was just like, all right, I'm on board. Let's do
Mm.
this. And even if he's kind of forcing it a bit, I felt like by the end he was on board with it.
I think by the end he was on board with it. There was
Early
border.
on, he was following orders.
Well, and he even said it like when they kept calling him broccoli in
Yeah.
engineering, and he's like, "Hey guys, you gotta stop it." And it wasn't even like that's mean, that's not very respectful. I'm telling you not to do it. It was like captain's orders.
Yep.
You gotta stop it. It's like, no, no, yes, that he ordered you to stop doing that. But when
Right.
you're talking to people that report to you, you don't get to deflect and say captain's orders. Like, no, those are your orders.
Right.
That was, and granted, that was earlier in the episode before he kind of hit his stride and kind of figured out how to work with Barkley and build that relationship. But that was a shitty leadership moment for Jordy.
Yep.
Like, I'm just going to deflect this entirely.
Right. Right. I, although all of that broccoli stuff was so great when
It's very,
Picard was just like, "Good, I look forward to your report, Mr. Broccoli,
yeah. And the look on Ray's
Barkley."
face
But
was,
then I think even better than that though is Data was just like, "Metathesis is one of the most common of pronunciation errors, sir. A reversal of vowel and consonant, bark to Brock, and then just like, oh."
yeah, I'll shut.
That
I also love his
was so good.
in engineering, as Jordy is saying, don't call him that anymore. Data. Why is Lieutenant Barclay being referred to clandestinely as a vegetable? Just
Right.
an awesome line. Like I think that helped save it. I think the holodeck scenes at times were very funny, and I think that helped. Um, I'm a little surprised that this is not like a situation that they had encountered. Like the idea of like holodeck addiction, or they call it, holoddiction. It felt like it was not a very well-known or common thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably wouldn't be the case in real life. And also the whole, we don't really have any regulations around, creating holographic characters based on real people.
Right.
And that feels problematical.
That
Um,
and I'll say on the flip side of that, interesting to note, the holodeck doesn't lock.
yeah, you
I was
just walk
like,
right in.
that's awkward as hell.
But- So, I mean, it just makes me think of like if we relate it back to today's terms, one of the big things that we're now struggling with as a society is deep fakes, right? And the
Hmm.
the fact that you can take a picture of someone and turn it into a pornographic picture of someone
Hmm.
against their will and without their consent. And this doesn't feel any different than that in a
Yeah.
lot. Like he
It,
wasn't doing anything super inappropriate, at least from what we saw,
that they
but
showed.
that they showed. But there were certainly some things involving Troy and Crusher that were really pushing up against that
Hmm.
boundary, and were still pretty reprehensible anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Troy's
Well,
take on it up until she saw herself was also problematical.
yeah, because well, and I thought that was interesting. It made for a funny scene, but yeah, if you really want to break it down, was like, okay, this is all sorts of weird.
Yep.
But like how a Riker was just like pissed off
Yeah.
at tiny diminutive Riker
She's one of the funniest.
with the like higher pitched voice.
Uh-huh.
It
She
was
acted that very well.
it was really funny. And then Troy basically saying like, "Oh, come on, have a sense of humor. This is funny."
Mhm.
And then flipping
Uh,
that immediately after when she was like when Troy tried to stop it and he was like, "Computer,
yep.
belay that order."
Yeah. I just love that he wouldn't have it. Like, no,
Yep.
you didn't let me have my moment. You
Right.
can't. Um, I don't know. Like, I don't buy that, in the 24th century where theoretically, it's a much better society and this, that, and the other thing, that wouldn't be a thing that had already been tackled and addressed up
Yeah.
until that point. So it made for interesting plot. It just didn't feel real enough to me.
Yeah. I thought there were again just good points throughout the episode where it's whether it's Geordi learning some leadership stuff. I mean, and you see that Geordi having the conversation with Guinan
Hmm.
and talking about Barkley and saying, well, maybe I'm not making myself clear, Guinan. Barkley, well, he's always late. The man's nervous. Nobody wants to be around this guy. And Guinan saying, if I felt that nobody wanted to be around me, I'd probably be late and nervous too.
And that's
So
also a fair
again,
take. Eh,
I thought it was such a just nothing really special in the episode, but just good just good dialogue, good stuff throughout, and good juxtapositions of different characters, different perspectives, and how they're treating this guy and Barclay himself. Yeah, I just thought it was good. If anything, I think a shortcoming of the episode is that the ending of it felt pretty much inevitable the entire time.
Yeah.
Shit's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Things are gonna get more complicated. Barkley's gonna fuck up again, and then he's gonna save the day.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It wasn't anything like mind blowing. It wasn't earth shattering. It just was.
Well, and
Um,
in that
but I
B
thought it was
plot,
executed fine. I thought it was solid enough. It wasn't. It was nowhere near the strongest episode this season, but I liked it better than Tin Man.
well, and that B plot was almost a C or a D plot in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like almost forgotten about throughout the middle of the episode until the very end when it was like, oh shit, we gotta figure this out. The ship's gonna blow up. And
Right.
then we gotta rush through you got 5 minutes to fix
Yeah. So it felt rushed at the end, uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it was
I
decently enough executed. It was just it was a fine episode.
I am curious and now thinking about this because they talk about it from the perspective that the actual threat of the episode is being this compound that they don't use anymore, but could explain everything. And they're running out of time to do anything about it. So they take the time to go back down to the cargo bay to figure it out so that they can then do the thing. And I'm wondering why there didn't seem to be any downside to doing the thing. Like they didn't talk about we gotta get this right because if we're wrong, other bad things happen. It's like,
Hmm.
let's go figure it out. Versus, why not do both? Like if there's no downside to flooding the injectors with this cryo whatever gas,
Yeah.
why not do that? While you then go try and just double check, right?
Hmm.
See, this
Yeah.
episode is so boring, you're yawning, and you think it's seven.
Yep. I'm tired.
Like,
Um,
I'm with you.
but yeah, yeah, it was a fine episode. I simultaneously liked and didn't care for the Barkley character. Yeah, it was like a redemption story that before the episode didn't know there was a character that needed to be redeemed at all. Um, but yeah, I think it was just an exploration of kind of human interaction, and they had some of the B plot or CED plot to kind of give some amount of tension to it. And I felt the tension in this episode was better than the tension in Tin Man. So yeah, it was just a fine
Yep.
fine episode. Nothing special, nothing bad. Just yeah,
Just,
had some good moments, and yeah, there you go. I don't really have too much else on this one.
I don't either. Is it weird that he goes to 10 forward and orders warm milk? I thought that was
Missed
weird.
that. But yeah, that
And
would
they
be
talked
weird.
about it like Guinan's like it's good for sleeping. You should try it sometime. When I think it was Jordy that commented about it, but I thought that was weird. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going through. There is some interesting trivia for this one. It's a little wild times.
Hmm. Sorry, we did have another sciencey word.
Okay.
Nucleosynthesis. The structure of the glass has been altered at the atomic level.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I don't know if that's a thing or if it's just,
Yep.
again, sounds sciencey.
All right. Are you ready for some trivia on this one?
Uh-huh. Yeah, let's go.
With the yawn, then we can
Yep.
wrap this up. So, Hollow Wesley's appearance is based on a famous painting by Thomas Gainsborough called The Blue Boy. His costume was copied in detail, and references to the painter in the painting can be found in the script.
Hmm.
Um, for some goddamned reason, I guess I could kind of see why, but this episode was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Achievement in Hairstyling. I guess I could see that in some of the holodeck scenes where they had the wigs and stuff like that, and
Okay.
Troy and Crusher had their hair done up in different ways. Like I could maybe
Yeah.
buy that. It didn't win; it was just nominated. So
Yeah.
let's too excited, right?
Hmm.
Um, this episode makes explicit and implicit references to Geordie LaForge's questionable holographic relationship with Leah Brahms.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
don't know that I caught that, and I had actually kind of forgotten about that
Well,
episode.
there was a little bit where Jordy was kind of like, I get it.
Yeah, understand. But yeah, it's. Hmm. The tune of the Minstrel Boy can be heard playing during the scene where Barclay is seen leaving the holodeck at the end of the episode. Um, the test cylinder props were actually U.S. Navy sonar buoy transport cases.
Hmm.
Kind of cool. Um, the during Barclay's counseling session with Troy, he mentioned that he knew about the flux capacitor and didn't need to hear about it from some damn kid. The flux capacitor was the core component of the DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future and is mentioned multiple times throughout all of Star Trek except for the original series.
I missed that.
I
That's pretty great.
vaguely remember it, but yeah. Let's see here. The episode drew some early controversy as Barclay was perceived by viewers as reflecting a stereotypical Trekkie introverted personality, impulsive traits. Um, Producers have maintained that Barclay was no such reflection, nor was the episode being intended as any sort of statement about the Star Trek fan base. The look on your face as I read that was pretty good, though.
Kind of like, yeah,
Eh,
he's kind of a fucking nerd.
yeah. Um, let's see here.
I'll say when I don't remember the exact way the lines went, But when he was talking about certain systems being down during his investigation, he had a bit of a Dennis Nedry feel to him. Where he's like, oh, I mean, so just down and then back up, and
Yeah.
but didn't seem like he was trying to steal Enterprise secrets and send them off to Dodgson.
No, no, clearly not. Oh, the melted transporter test object was the same prop as was used in the second season episode when Enterprise is orbiting a planet with atmospheric conditions impervious to beaming. The test object in new condition was part of a group of containers beamed up during the first season. So just keep
Hmm.
reusing those props.
Yeah.
Um, so more context on the Minstrel Boy. The song is written by Thomas More and honors a valiant boy who died in battle. In essence, this is Barclay saying goodbye to his swashbuckling fantasies. By saving one program from deletion, he keeps the spirit of the boy alive.
Hmm.
And the last one is the real Dr. Crusher doesn't appear, but holographic replicas of her are seen several times.
Hmm.
Which I didn't catch either,
Yeah.
but that's true. You never see her.
And we had a call for another emergency saucer separation.
Yeah, but we couldn't do it. No sep. There's an
Yeah. It's like,
imbalance.
yep, I had to write out the full word separation because it wasn't emergency saucer sep. But
Should have been.
yep.
But yeah, that's trivia for it.
Yeah, all right. So, all right, next time we've got the next three episodes, and then that's the most toys, Sarek, and Menage a Troy. So I'm guessing that one might be problematical.
I guess we're gonna
Uh,
find out, aren't we?
yep. And then after that, two more episodes in season three. So we're just cruising along here.
Great.
I looked up, I think it's episode 6 of season 4 is
Yeah.
where they move past the original series in number of episodes.
Episodes. Oh, so we're real close.
Yeah, we're really close to having
Oh,
watched more next gen than original series.
I'm okay with that. Let's just keep it going.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there you go. I don't have too much more to add, so I think I'll keep this outro short. Thanks for listening. If you're watching along with us, next week we will be watching the next 3 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation, The Most Toys, Sarek, and Menage a Troy. As always, if you enjoy what we're doing, please do us a favor and share with a friend. Also, leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast app. You can find us on X at Baldly Go Podcast, to Baldly Go Podcast on Facebook, and to baldlygopodcast.com. You can also find me at aaronemery.net. Nate and I have another podcast, The InLap, in which we discuss each race weekend of the current Formula One season. You can get episodes of The InLap wherever you get your podcasts. For Nate, this is Aaron reminding you to never give up, never surrender. Science words.